Hi everybody, this is Web Dev Nick here. Coming at you with my first video on HTML, an introduction to HTML. Okay, so let's get stuck in. So HTML is a markup language. It's usually the first port of call when you're learning web development or you're wanting to build a website from scratch. You tend to build up by using the markup language HTML to get elements onto your page. So with HTML, this is how you get your title on your page, your subheadings, your actual content you're writing, your pictures, if you want to have links to other websites, if you want to have a list of things, say for navigation is a list. So all your elements that you have on your web page tend to be inputted onto the HTML file. So let's go ahead and create one. I've created a new folder here. This is my desktop. I've created a folder called My Website. I've got a picture of a guitar in there, which I'm going to use at some point in a bit. But we're going to go in here and I'm going to create an empty document, and we're going to call this index.html. Now, this is the convention within web development. Excuse me, I'll call that index. The convention within web development is to call your root file, your home page, the index.html. I mean, you can call this homepage.html, but like I said, the convention is called index.html. Now, you could edit this within a text editor and build all your HTML this way. So H1, for example, is a heading. Now, this is not the usual way that you do this. Well, my cable's in the way at the minute here. Let's just get my cable out of the way. So normally you won't do this in a text editor. Normally you'll do this in actual code editors, but I just want to show you that you can do it this way, but it's not the done thing. So that's a HTML file now, so my computer knows to open that with Firefox or whatever your default browser is. So now you can see the H1 tag, I'm a heading. Now, like I said, this is not the usual way of doing things. Generally, you have a text editor, some sort of program that will actually convert this into proper HTML that's highlighted, which makes it a lot easier. So you get highlighting in these programs, and you also get autofill, as well as a bunch of other features. So for example, if I remove that end piece there and try to create something else and put some random stuff in there, you can see already that this is red telling me that there's an error somewhere, and the error is the ending here is missed. So if I put that ending on, now the error has gone. So this is the great thing about a visual text editor like this, a code editor. It shows you these errors and it helps you, it assists you, and it does a lot of autofill and other things. So I'm using Visual Studio Code, VS Code, also known as. There's also Sublime Text, there's brackets, there's atoms, there's a bunch of different ones out there. So just grab one and start using it. I recommend Visual Studio Code. It's a really good program. It's got a ton of features in. I don't even know how to use most of the stuff in this program, but there's things I can do with it already are incredible. So I recommend this one. So get yourself a code editor. So now we've created our first HTML file, and we can see it here. And we've got it. In fact, let's get the browser up, and I'm going to snap this to this side. We'll get the code editor on this side. So, HTML. So like I said, this is how you get your content onto your page. Now, you generally start a HTML file with a doc type equals HTML. Now, this can be capitals, it can be all lowercase, it doesn't matter. This is just telling your browser what file type to expect. So, it's telling basically Firefox to expect a HTML file. Okay, that's as much as you need to know about that. Just put it in at the beginning of every HTML file. No bother. Now we're going to use tags, what are called tags. So let's start writing some. The first one you write is an actual HTML tag. So this is the beginning of your document and the end of your document. Now you can see tags, pretty much all tags, but not all of them, have an opening tag and then a closing tag. The difference is this / here. That defines the closing tag. So this means this is a HTML starting and this is a HTML finishing. It's the beginning of your web page, this is the end of your web page. Now, inside this, again, text editors like this, they do indenting. And this just makes it easier to read. Okay, so we have a head, and then let's go down here and do a body. Again, I'm outlining the very bare skeleton of a website here. Let's create a bit of space there. So this is generally what you have in your website. You have your head section at the top, and then your big body of text here. So your head, for this lesson, in fact, I'm just going to put the title in. So we'll call this my website. Okay, now if I save this, go over here and refresh, you can see at the top here we've got my website. Okay, so this website has done the same thing. They will have a title section here in their head section. So the head you generally don't see on the web page, but you can see this bit here. Okay, and this little picture here as well, that's a favicon. We can put this in the head as well, but we'll do that in another lesson. So for the moment, we'll just leave the head at this. And now in the body, this is where we have everything that you want to be displayed on your website. So you might want to have a heading on your website. So we can use H1 for this. And there are 6 different ones of these as well. You've got H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. H1 being the biggest, H6 being the smallest. Let's just see how small it is. Now, generally, again, in web development, you tend to only use H1s and H2s, maybe a H3. If I refresh the page here, this is your H1, nice big heading. This is your H6. You generally never use H6, H5, H4. I tend to just use H1s and H2s, but that's how you do a heading. Now, if you want to have a body of text because you've just done a heading, let's get rid of that one, in fact. This is a P, which stands for paragraph. Let's do the closing one while we're here as well. Oops, it's done it for me. So now we've got an opening one and a closing one. So I'm going to throw some text in here. In fact, I'm just going to write some gibberish. I could write some lorem ipsum. In fact, let's get some lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is random text. It's Latin text, and it used to be used hundreds of years ago in newspapers, I suppose decades and decades ago rather than hundreds and hundreds. But it's just dummy text. So when you're scouring your design of your web page, instead of having actual text there, you put dummy text in. Because if you've got real text there, then your eye is going to get drawn into the text, and you're going to be not paying as much attention to the design as you should be, or the user experience as you should be. Therefore, using dummy text like this is great, because it means you don't end up reading it. You just skim straight past it. I'm going to go view here and word wrap so that we can see everything there, so it's not spreading all the way across here. So this is how you get text on your site using the P. Again, we've got an opening P and we've got a closing P. So this is a HTML tag. This is a P tag. These are HTML tags. This is a HTML tag, and this is a HTML. They're all HTML tags. So now I go back to the website. I didn't save it yet, so if I save this, come back here and refresh, now we've got our lorem ipsum. We've got a heading, lorem ipsum. Now, of course, it looks very ugly. Now, this is where CSS comes in later on down the line to make the whole thing look pretty. But what else can we chuck in there? We can chuck in, I'm going to leave unordered list for the next video. I'll quickly show you how to chuck in an image, because an image is one of the few tags that doesn't have an opening and closing tag. Okay, it's just one tag like this. So you have image. Now, what image do you want? You need a source equals, you do these, and we've got that picture of a guitar. So let's go guitar.jpg. I believe it's a JPEG. If I save that, come over here, and now it's pulling my guitar. So it's pulling that guitar from my local directory. Now, say this guitar was online. In fact, I'll do the same thing. I'll just copy and paste that one down. Let's go and find a picture of a guitar online. Let's come onto here, type guitar, images. Let's grab this one. I'll open it in a new tab, and now we can see what the actual link is for that one. So come down here, paste that one in there, save that one, back to my website. Let's get rid of those 3, refresh it, and I should have that second guitar there. Okay, so it's absolutely massive, but that, again, that's where CSS comes in. You can style it to make it smaller and to put it where you want to put it. So this is 2 ways you can add an image, either locally from your local storage or from somewhere in the web. Now, as a quick side note, it's good to have alt equals, this is a guitar. You can put anything here, but this is just alt text. So if your guitar image doesn't work, then you've got text there instead. And Google likes this. The search engines like this. They like you to have extra text there. So if I put that in both of them, now if I delete a letter in there, delete a letter in there, now the HTML is not going to find either of those guitars. So instead, it should display, this is a guitar, this is a guitar. So it's displaying the alt text instead. Now, if you're doing search engine optimization and you've got keywords for your website, you might put a few keywords in here, but make it congruent and nice. But that's how you can get an image. into your website. And quickly we'll do links as well, because links are very common, as you'll find. Now, a link is A, and then you've got a closing A as well. So if we come next to that A, and instead of source like we did with an image, we're going to go href without the space. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I can. Href equals. Let's do https. Let's do Google. Okay, so that link will take us to Google. In fact, if I go in here and say put Google, save that, come over here. And you can see we've got Google there. Now if I click on that, it'll take me straight to Google. But generally you don't want people to leave your website, so you want that to open up elsewhere. So you can say target equals this. Again, this sounds a little bit confusing, but you just have to remember this, and there's not that many of these things to remember in HTML. So we can say target blank. So when we click on it now, Google will actually open up in a separate web page, and we've still got our website open. Okay, so that's just a little, that just shows you how we can do links. And if we get this guitar back, we can actually turn that guitar into a link. Again, let's send it to Google if we click on the guitar. So we can actually put that link before the image there. I'm actually copying and pasting that in, and then I'll copy and paste in that closing tag. So we've got a link going to Google, target is blank. In fact, we don't want that closing link there. We then want the image, the source, the alternate text, and then we want the closing link. Okay, so now that guitar should come back, and there you can see my pointers changing to the finger, so I can click on that and go to Google. So now my guitar is actually a link. So this is how you can turn guitars into a link. Text as well. For example, I could turn one letter of text in. No, I've already. Okay, let's do href equals. Let's just steal that Google again. I'm not writing all that out. Target blank, etc. I'm hoping that's right. So that's a link, target blank. We're just going to say those three words links. Okay, so I think that's done it. That's gone a little bit confusing. It's on the next line, but we should see there. Okay, so we can click on that. It takes us to Google. So there we put a link in the text there. So we turn the text into a link. We've turned this image into a link, and we've just got a general word here, which is also a link, which is down here. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this introduction. This is just a brief introduction, really, how to set up your HTML file, to name it index.html. So everyone knows that anyone else that's looking at your code will know that that's your index page, that's your front page. We've covered a couple of tags and how to get your title into your website, and how to get a heading in, how to get some text in, a body of text, how to get an image in there, how to link to a different website. So it's just a quick overview, really. That's all I'm going to cover in this lesson. I'm just going to leave it there. I will quickly mention W3 Schools. This is an absolutely brilliant website. If for reference, really, as a reference guide. So if you go to tutorials at the top, learn HTML. Down here, you've got all these things we've been talking about. You've got different elements. You've got paragraphs. You've got lists. You've got tables. You've got IDs. You've got tons of different stuff. So I still use this to this day. If I'm ever stuck with something HTML, CSS, it's got all down the side. We've got JavaScript down the side. It's got a ton of different things. So this is a great website to check out. Quickly, I'll mention as well, this is a local website that I've just found. It looks very simple. It's a very simple website. But if you go into any website now, you can right click and you can go to view page source, and then you get all of this crazy looking HTML. I mean, this is all HTML. It's just what we've been learning. We can see straight away at the top here, we've got the doc type HTML, which we wrote out earlier. They've used lowercase. You can use uppercase. It doesn't matter. We've got the opening HTML tag there. And down at the bottom, we should have a closing HTML tag. We can see we've got a closing body tag there. So that's the body tag that we set earlier. That's your main body of text. You've got opening head tag. We've got the title here. So we look at the website. It's actually the creator.nes. We can see the title, the creator.nes. So we've done that little bit. Now, all this other stuff looks crazy, absolutely crazy. But all we've got to do is quickly read it, and we can see Squarespace. Okay, so this is a Squarespace website. Squarespace. Squarespace. Okay, so Squarespace, the actual website itself, puts all of this information in. It's the same with a Wix site or with a WordPress site. They tend to automatically put in a lot of this upper information, so you never have to worry about writing this stuff out. Just don't worry about it. I've never written anything like this out before in my life, so don't worry about it. And then you come down here, we've got the body. And we can probably start recognizing a few things that we've covered so far, such as links. I mean, this stuff is, again, this is Squarespace. This is all crazy. No idea what's going on here, so don't worry about that stuff. Have we got any links or images? Because we've covered those so far. I'm sure I can find one here. There's a link, href, which is going to this place. Yeah, so there's a link, and we've got an image here with a source. There's the image source. There's the alternative text if the image doesn't work. So anyway, so you can have a look at websites. I mean, a lot of it can look crazy sometimes, but that's probably because there's either a really complex team behind it or it's a WordPress site or something. But I'm going to leave it there for this first lesson. Like I said, this is a brief introduction to HTML. Hopefully you found it useful. Please like and subscribe to the channel. The next video will go more in depth with HTML, and then coming up after that we've got a ton of CSS stuff coming as well. So thank you very much. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.